Hello. So, I'm starting live now. Let me share it. Um, let's see first is if everyone is here. Mm, Let me share it to the Facebook. I will share it on the WhatsApp also. Can you hear me, by the way? Mm, can you just hear me? So if anyone can hear me, can you post in the comment? I would like to know if you can hear me. Let me see. Okay, it seems like the sound's working. Okay. Okay, thank you for responding. So, hi everyone. How are you today? Okay, thank you for responding, Nasim and Izzuddin Razali. So, just to introduce myself, my name is Ms Najaa Mamad from SG Unit 10. I'm a trainee counselor at SG Unit 10. So, yeah, so now I will be presenting public speaking anxiety. I will talk about the symptoms. I will talk about um, what are the most common situation. I will talk about how do we counter public speaking anxiety. How can we improve some of the symptoms also. So yeah, let's start now. So before I start, I just would like to ask all of you, how do you feel today? So it's Friday night. Normally we hang out with our family and friends. Normally we just hang out the local mall, something like that. And how do you feel right now? And yeah, thank you so much for taking this time to attend my lighthouse show. Also, hopefully you can gain something from this. So let's start our webinar lighthouse show for today. So if we look at the public speaking anxiety statistic, it shows that almost 75% global rate are experiencing public speaking anxiety. So, it's not uncommon. It's very, very common. It's very, very familiar with a lot of people. A lot of people are dealing with public speaking anxiety also. Globally, 75%. It's a big number. So, one third of Finland students are also experiencing public speaking anxiety. 61% of USA University students experiencing public speaking anxiety. 75% of people who are experiencing public speaking anxiety also experiencing social anxiety as well. So the number is very huge so far, and only 14% public speaking anxiety individuals are without the social anxiety. So it seems like for a Malaysian student, why public speaking is important because we use it as a communication, apprehension, and sometimes test anxiety could be something of more common for Malaysian students because normally we are graded for our presentation, we grade it for our exam, we grade it for our test, verbal test, oral test, something like that. So a lot of it are public speaking anxiety for Malaysian students most commonly during the communication apprehension and test anxiety. For international students, some of it could be from the external factor, for example, from the standard of the lecturer or fear of grammar and vocabulary also. So during the pandemic, although we have not enough researchers yet, but it seems like the public speaking anxiety are increasing also because we haven't interact each other for almost 2 years, and we've been kept with to ourselves for so far almost 3 years, and just getting back to the endemic phase, just getting back to the face-to-face classes and face-to-face presentation. All of this requires a lot more data, and it seems like this transition can be hard also for a lot of people. So we look at it. What is actually public speaking anxiety? So public speaking anxiety is the fear of delivering a speech or presenting in front of a lot of people. So it's a fear of being negatively viewed. It's a fear of having all of this negative feeling, especially being negatively viewed, especially from other people's perspectives, especially when we notice that when we notice people might have perceived us differently, all the feedback from other people, it causes all the pressure are heightened if you receive feedback such as stern stare, yawn, unfocused eyes, um, unfocused view of people. Um, so all this negative feeling. So so most of this negative feeling it triggers some of the symptoms as well. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me check my connection. There is something is not right with the. Oh my, so it's real. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, hopefully everyone can see. Okay, can see now. I'm so sorry for that. So so sorry. Among individuals, personality could also impact the public speaking anxiety itself. For example, there are persons who experience social anxiety, they might have higher tendency to experience public speaking anxiety. For people who might be introverted, they might also have higher tendency to have public speaking anxiety as well. So symptoms. What are the symptoms? As you can see in the picture, some of it could be related also. So cognitive, inside in your mind, what are you thinking at the moment? Your self belief, what do you believe? Can you actually do it? Do you believe that you are able to deliver it well? Do you believe that you are confident with your content? So things like this. Do you think that you screw it up? Do you feel like you're gonna fail the presentation? So this is your self belief. So there are also fear, the lack of control. For example, there are a lot of things without your that is outside of your control. For example, the perspective of others towards you, the facial expression, all of these things could be what are running in your mind at that moment when you are actually presenting or delivering a speech. And behavior. So sometimes the public speaking anxiety could be worse enough to cause you to have avoidance. You have the tendency to avoid presentation, avoid saying too much, avoid uh just avoid presentation and speaking in general, especially on public. And sometimes when you have to actually do it, you rely more on the visual aid, and sometimes you can even run away. In the worst case scenario, running away from this scene as well. So physical symptoms, what we can see inside ourselves, the physical symptoms. Sometimes we be trembling, we have sweaty hands, shaky, we have hot or cold flush. Sometimes our heart beat really fast. The speech pattern could be fast, sometimes too fast, sometimes too slow. Sometimes our voice is too low, sometimes voice is too high. So all of these pattern we can recognize, and all of these symptoms can be categorized into three parts: cognitive, behavioral, and physical. So far, if you have experienced any of these symptoms, you can let me know in the chat, and we can look through if each and every one of us have any experience having these symptoms also. So next, so why public speaking or why delivering a speech is important? because uh, in Malaysia, especially, or everywhere in the world, for the students, it's the institutional curriculum itself. We do need to deliver presentation, we do need to deliver um, oral speech, something like that. It's also important for confident speaking skills. So once we are confident with ourselves, confident with our communication skills, confidence with our content, it could lead to success also, not only during the academic phase, but also afterward throughout your career life as well. So, why is it also important? For you to be able to present your ideas effectively and very clearly. And also, it could build your confidence for your ideas as well. And also prepare for your workforce, like we have mentioned before, confidence and ideas. So, next, causes of public speaking anxiety. So, what actually causes public speaking anxiety? So, if you look at these several items, several, it says that could be causes by poor planning. So sometimes we might not be able to prepare well, we might not be able to research well the content, we might not be able to be familiarized with the content beforehand. So all of this lack of preparation, poor planning might be the reason why we are feeling uh, some of the symptoms as well. So spotlight complex. Spotlight complex is when you actually fear of being in the center of attention, fear of being watched by several other people at once. So the spotlight complex itself, you have the tendency to be stunned or to blank out whenever people have attention on you. You're quite worried about um, all these eyes on you and you're not quite sure how to handle all this burden and pressure all at once. Negative self-talk. So sometimes we do have negative self-talk. For example, even though we are quite prepared and quite know our content really well, but at the same time, we might have the tendency to maybe say, okay, maybe I'm not as good as my classmate. Maybe I'm not gonna receive a really good result for this. Maybe I'm a terrible speaker. So this kind of self-talk currently is not helpful. And also it could cause some of the public speaking anxiety symptoms as well. Lack of experience and practice. So this is also part of the poor planning also. And if you look at the green box, the green or blue, something like that. So the box itself, it is most of the time self-inflicted. What is going on inside here? What is in your mind, in your thoughts, in your beliefs? So sometimes we have the tendency to self-criticize. Like I said before, maybe I'm a terrible speaker. Maybe I'm not good as them. Maybe I'm not as clear as I want to be. Maybe I can be better. So this kind of self-criticize could also give you some of the symptoms and could cause you to have this anxiety as well. So you also sometimes it could be so bad that you actually avoid preparing in practice. Sometimes you also have this self pressure. Okay, sometimes maybe you can do it, but at the same time, too much pressure to yourself can be uh can be can bite you back in the ass. For example, I have to be perfect. I have to be clear. I have to make no mistake at all. I have to be really smooth. So all of this self pressure could lead to some of the public speaking anxiety symptoms also. Catastrophizing statement. So as we can see, sometimes you imagine even the worst case scenario and you believe that it will happen. So when you see that it will happen, that is the thing that happened is it calls self-proclaimed self-profligacy, something like that, something that kind of like we predict the future even though we don't know for sure yet. But since you already imagine the worst case scenario, you already imagine yourself to be in that situation, it can cause some of the symptoms to be worsened also. So next is, okay, now we are going into how do we overcome this public speaking anxiety. So, as you can see, there is four steps, four main steps. So the first part is awareness. So awareness, having awareness is very important. For example, we need to discover what is the trigger to our what is the trigger to our public speaking anxiety. For example, if we look from the causes, you need to identify which one of the causes is the main one, the primary one that caused you to have this kind of symptom. What is the main reason why you are unable to deliver well, and why you are having this a lot of symptoms, shaky hands, a voice trembling, you're talking too fast or talking too slow, you are worried about making mistakes. So if you look at some of these causes, you need to identify which one currently is the most affecting to you. For example, I do have some of my clients, and most of them have spotlight complex. So most of them actually really afraid being the center of attention, really afraid of being seen by other people, especially when they have to deliver something. So when they have all these eyes on them, they have this pressure of, what if I make a mistake and they laugh? What if I make a mistake and they kind of like judge me for being this person? What if I'm not being able to do well and I got really good bad feedback from other people? So this is the most common causes and common triggers that I got from my clients, especially regarding the public speaking anxiety. So first, awareness. So you need to be aware what is the cause for your public speaking anxiety, and you need to be aware what is the trigger. You can be very as specific as you can. So next is, hold on a second, I need to put on my battery. I'm so sorry. Oh my god. So sorry for that. Yeah. So first step, awareness. Be aware what causing you to have these kind of symptoms. So if you already know which are the symptoms have, or the most areas you can also like so that also if you ever have these that can cause you to have some of the public speaking anxiety symptoms. So once we have awareness, once we know our own trigger, our own cause, now we are looking at preparation. Then practice and then relaxation. So once you know once you are aware of your triggering symptoms, you can be prep, you can practice, and you can start to have relaxation. So step by step. So like I said before, awareness. So first identify the trigger. So I already told you some of the example from my past client. So identify which situation is more likely can cause you to have these symptoms, who are the audience, the size of the audience, the type of content, the requirement of the requirement of this speech or public speaking itself. Does it grade? Is it graded? Is it not graded? Is it live? Is it recorded? So something like that. So you need to identify and know really well what are the trigger what are the trigger for you so far. So once you identify the trigger, number two is causes. So which cause is the biggest factor? If you look at the trigger itself, situation, the audience, size of audience, type of content, the requirement itself, which one of the trigger could be the biggest factor? So once you know the biggest factor, then you can work on that. So the third one is severity. So what are the symptoms you display? So for example, I already show you the three main types. So the thinking, the behavior, and also the physical. So which one of the symptoms uh, are most affecting to you? What symptoms are there? Sometimes you have all of them, sometimes you have some of it, sometimes you only have one or two. So what type of these symptoms and how long have you had it, and the frequency itself? So this is something that you need to also explore, because it's important to know the main point where you started to reach to this point. For example, if you know that uh, if you know one of the worst presentation you ever give or worst speech you ever give, so you kind of like research a little bit more about that worst situation ever. So once you identify what's going on throughout that presentation itself, the worst that you ever uh, deliver, what kind of what kind of symptoms you're having at that moment, and what are the type of symptoms, what about the situation, what about the audience, what are the size of the audience. If you can remember back your worst public speaking or your worst presentation or your worst speech ever, you can start to identify each and every single one of the trigger, and you can identify the severity as well. So in order to do that, you have to kind of like remember back all your past experiences, and when is the starting point. So the starting point is actually important to know the cause. For example, um, one of my clients, their starting point is actually when someone had said something to her. Oh, why are you not like other people? Why are you not like me? Why are you not like the rest of the group? So hearing these kind of words can be traumatizing to the person. So that person slowly developing some of the public speaking anxiety, due to what have been said to her. So what she can do is she start to heal from those words. She start to find her own confidence. So this type of experiences that you have in the past can be the starting point where you actually start to uh, not move on. What's the word? Start to maybe move on from that part of your life and focus on what you can do in future. And for example, another one of my clients, her worst experience was uh, when she actually haven't prepared for anything, and she got really good. She got pretty bad feedback, pretty harsh feedback from her lecturer. So that's the starting point when she actually lose confidence at all. At all, she could not even start to present again. It's really hard for her. She have all the symptoms. So the starting point is actually when she wasn't prepared, and she actually have to endure uh, the whole presentation with a lot of symptoms, and get actually harsh feedback for that. So the harsh feedback itself is causing her to be traumatized by her lecturer. She every time she have to present in front of the same lecturer, she will try to uh, not open the camera, or she tried to make it where she doesn't have to actually face the lecture itself. So yeah, in these different kind of scenarios, each and every one of us have our own trigger, have our own causes, have our own starting point, where we actually start to become, or when we actually start to develop some of these symptoms. So start to look at the time when you actually had it very bad, had it worse, the worst thing. So now we are going to preparation. So after you have awareness, now you can prepare yourself. So first, do you notice that you are studying enough for the content? So the second one, are you interested enough for the content? Do you care enough for this content that you are going to deliver, that you are going to present? And the third one, relevant. Is your content relevant to your interest, to your study or the course. So all of this preparation is very, very important in order for us to deliver a very effective speech and to deliver a very clear idea. So research, interest, and relevancy. This is preparation part. So the next part, relaxation. So this is one of the most important also because at the end of the day, most of us who already have practice, who already have know our content, already done our research, already pretty confident with ourselves. But actually, when we have to uh, face the situation when we actually have to dive into it, we notice that actually it's really hard to present, even though we know, even though everything is already in our mind, even though the situation is not as bad as we thought, but at the same time, sometimes it's just how our biological response is, or sometimes it's out of our control. Sometimes we can't even be relaxed in that situation where we actually have to deliver a speech in front of a lot of people. So what we can do is, despite all this preparation, what we can do when we actually have some of the symptoms is first deep breathing. So it sounds very simple, deep breathing, something that we do all the time. So why we do it? Why do it? Because the first thing we notice is our heartbeat is going really fast at the time where we get nervous or we get some of these symptoms, the heartbeat really fast. This is most common symptoms for public speaking anxiety. So what we do is we practice deep breathing. So make sure that you actually make it really deep and like breathe when you breathe out, make sure it could be pretty long. So in order for your body to get the oxygen needed and kind of like keep yourself calm and regulate the heartbeat again to a normal level. So when stuck, take a pause, take a breather, take a deep breath, and start again. So that's the first step. The second step, you can also do progressive muscle relaxation. How we can do it? Progressive muscle relaxation is by tensing and relaxing part of your body. The most common part of our body that we can use for progressive muscle relaxation is our fist. So I think some of us unconsciously clench our fist sometimes when we get nervous or when we get nervous or when we get shaky, we have the tendency to clench our fist. It is actually one of the technique that is proven to be working for a lot of people. So we just clench really hard and then release. Clench really hard and then release. It can provide some sort of relaxation and um sense of regulation also for your body, especially when your hands are shaking, when your hands are sweaty. It could be helpful to tense your face and relax again. So there are also like other parts of your body that you can also tense, but because we are delivering speech, so most likely we are trying to not make it obvious. So what we can do is use our face or use our arms, like clench it really hard and then release. So it is called progressive muscle relaxation. So whenever we feel stuck or whenever we feel like overwhelmed, whenever we feel like we kind of like almost blank out, so this is what we can do with deep breathing and progressive muscle relaxation. So number three, appropriate pauses. So this is also one of the most important thing also, especially when you notice that your speech pattern are increasingly getting too fast. So what you do is take appropriate pauses between the speech in order for yourself to prepare yourself for the next content. So do have practice with these pauses. For example, even with your normal speaking, where normally how you converse how you converse with your friend, how you communicate with other people, how do you communicate with your lecturer, how you communicate in general. You can start to practice. Take these pauses in between. Make sure your speech are very clear in order for yourself to prepare for the next content or prepare yourself to imagine what you would say next. So it's okay to take your time between the pauses as well. So this is something that that could be really helpful during the moment itself. So when you are presenting, you notice getting too fast or stumbling over your words, then you start to pace yourself by deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, and also take appropriate pauses for each and every content in order for you to prepare for the next idea. So, so like all of these things, they will not be appropriate without the practice itself. So I do believe in practice makes perfect. I strongly believe in that. No matter what situation, no matter what are the things you practice for, I do believe in practice makes perfect. So if you notice yourself, you are unable to talk to a lot of different people, you're unable to talk in front of the stage, especially with all these eyes on you, what you can do is step by step. Probably the first step, as you can see at the lowest bottom of the pyramid, maybe you can start by practicing speech in front of one friend of one family. So only one person. You practice in front of one person, and then once you feel confident enough, then you bring on to the next one. Practice in front of several friends and family, maybe 4 or 5 people, maybe 5 or 6 people. So depends on your comfort level. If you notice that you're slowly increasing the number and you feel like you're getting more and more comfortable, then you can start to add more and more number as well. And as you can see, the third one, giving speech in front of one stranger. So this is something that quite complicated as well because some of us are more nervous in front of our family, but okay in front of a stranger. But some of us are afraid to speak in front of a stranger, but okay with our own family. So this pyramid itself can be interchangeable. So you can change the sequence itself. So the lowest part would be the practice that you can do that is the least amount of stress given to you, the least amount of anxiety that will be given to you. So make sure the bottom one, the least amount of stressful situation or the least amount of anxiety that will give you, and the really top one is the biggest anxiety that will give you. So that's why this is the example, just example. So the top one is giving a speech in front of several strangers. So it seems like with step by step, and you can also discover your own pyramid as well. I do believe it will work as well because I think I have worked with different four different clients with public speaking anxiety. They started off with a very high score of public speaking anxiety, but once they go through this pyramid and added to that with the relaxation technique as well, and also some of the exploration on the causes of the trigger, it is proven for every single one of them to reach moderate or to no longer have some of the symptoms, to no longer have the high symptoms. They already shifted from higher level of public speaking anxiety to moderate level and low level of public speaking anxiety. So I do strongly believe that practice do make perfect. So yeah, this is what they have gone through. They do step by step in one family, one member, several families, several members, speech in one stranger, speech in front of several strangers. Some of them try to become an MC. Some of them even try to present in front of in front of random people. Some even the first step, it it also like it's up to your imagination also. For example, the first step could be taking an order from restaurant, or the first step would be talking to your friend, talking to one friend, talking to a classmate, because I know some of us do have um do have fear of actually talking to even the classmate itself. So what you can do is just try to be creative with your pyramid. Discover what you can do first, and then discover what you can do next and next and next and next, depending on how stressful this situation can cause you, especially regarding the public speaking anxiety itself. So next is, yeah. So I am almost at the end of my slide. So today will be very brief. Uh, so mistake does not define you. So do not be afraid of stumbling, and practice does make perfect. So whenever you make mistake, okay, what can you do about it? Okay, imagine yourself making the mistake. What you can do about it. So what you can do is as well. So those are the things that I can leave you with today. Hopefully, hopefully everyone can take a little something from my presentation also. So yeah, so if we can briefly go back, so how to overcome it, having this awareness on your trigger, on the causes, and prepare yourself for the content. Make sure you're prepared enough. Practice, 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 and have some relaxation. So I have explained starting from some of the symptoms of public speaking anxiety, and I have spoken about how we are going to overcome some of these symptoms as well. So thank you so much for listening so far. Do you have any question? If you have any question, just leave in the chat box. Then I can try to answer your question as well. So, yeah, do you have any question, or do you have any suggestion, or do you have anything that you would like to raise? You can um, leave it in the chat box as well. And I do would like to know, how was your presentation skill so far? Do you feel like you're really confident in your speaking skills, or do you feel like there is some improvement that you need to make, or do you feel like you're able to relate well to this presentation? So give a comment also. So yeah, so far, any question? I'll wait for like about 2 minutes. So yeah, by the way, tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, we are going to have open day at the admin building, UCC. So if you guys are still in the campus, if you guys are here on the campus, don't be shy. Come join us on the open day. Come say hi to us on SGU table. We have our own table, so you can come and we can do some exciting tests. We can do career tests, something like that. So if you're available for Saturday and Sunday, we do have open day at admin building UCC. Yeah, that's one of my promotion as well. So yeah, so yeah, I think today we can end here today. So hopefully this this lighthouse show today can be really helpful for you. I will release the feedback from the attendance form now. Give me a second. I will leave it on the chat box, and I will also share it on WhatsApp also. So thank you so much for coming to the talk. If you are coming late, I'm so sorry, I already finished the whole presentation. If you're coming late, it's okay. You can watch the rerun. So yeah, hopefully you can learn more about the public speaking anxiety and learn the ways to overcome some of the public speaking anxiety as well. So thank you so much, guys. I already leave the attendance form. Sorry, I already leave this attendance form on the chat box and also WhatsApp. So yeah, thank you for coming. Oh, okay, there is a question. Hold on. Let me see. I don't like. Okay, I don't like to consume medicine for anxiety like I used to. It worsened myself now. I don't know why. So this is maybe it's also related, maybe it's not really related, but at the same time, sometimes public speaking anxiety can get worsened to a point where you actually have to take medication also. So I do understand some of this question also. So, Fauzi, thank you for your question. I do know there are some side effect to the anxiety medication. What I would suggest is you can try to talk to your psychiatrist or you can talk to your psychologist, the person who prescribed your medication, and talk to them about the symptoms you have before taking the medication and after taking the medication. So if you can see the difference, the magnitude of the difference, maybe there is something that you can bring up to them, and maybe there is something that they can do in regards to the medication itself. Maybe some of it regarding to the doses or something like that. So Fauzi, thank you for sharing, and hopefully you can get in touch with your psychiatrist or psychologist or medical doctor as well. Just take note of the symptoms you have before you take the medication and after you take medication also. So hopefully that can be some help for you also. Thank you for asking question. So so it seems like no more question. So before I end, I just would like to promote um, our service. We are four of us are trainee counselor in STU Unit, Student Guidance Unit. You can come see us at TL Building, third floor. Can walk in, leave appointment form, or you can just contact us through WhatsApp as well. So we will always be at the SDO office, TA third floor. If you needed anything, or if you need some consultation, if you need individual counseling, group counseling, career assessment, personality assessment, psychological assessment, something like that. So just to promote our service as well. So you can come join us. So yeah, that's all for my face is too big. Okay. Thank you so much for coming to our lighthouse. Hopefully you can have a very wonderful weekend and take a good rest for the rest of your day as well. So bye bye.